Other side of the ball, Arizona State defensively, look, this is a team that last season allowed 22.6 points a game in the run defense, only 113 yards per game allowed, which is the best in the Big 12. Passing defense wasn't as strong, about 227 yards a game, and they 16 interceptions, right? And only 6.6 yards per attempt, under 60% completion percentage. So they gave up some yards, but they were also still a pretty good pass defense, all things considered. This is a really good defense for Arizona State a year ago. They got pretty much all those guys back. I think the one guy off the defense that's gone, it's Shamari Simmons at nickel, Caleb McCall at linebacker as well. But defensive line, Layden Smith back, Elijah O'Neal, Prince Dorba, CJ Fight. Like, they got a very veteran and talented defensive line. Now, a veteran and talented defensive line that last year was not super productive for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
That was not a D-line that just had a ton of sacks, had a ton of pressures. But it was a good, solid D-line that they could win with. But, I mean, you look elsewhere on that defense, and Xavier Alford and Miles Rouser back at safety, really, really good. Keith Abney for them at corner is an outstanding player. And in this game, they had a lot of guys make an impact. Linebacker Jordan Crook had a big game for them with 7 tackles and a sack. Keyshawn Elliott is another linebacker for them who had a really nice game, and one of their more veteran guys back as well. There's a lot of experienced pieces back on this defense. They got talent at all 3 levels. Was not a dominant performance for them in week 1, but, 3 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 5 pass deflections. I think they got like 1 interception. They did give up some passing yards. Northern Arizona was able to find something in the pass game, but look, this is a pretty solid defense. I don't think they're a dominant unit for what it's worth. I don't think this is a defense that's going to go out and just play shutdown. But look, Mississippi State a season ago in this game, they could not run the football at all against Arizona State's front. They could not get the run game going whatsoever. Their pass protection was bad. And the game very much became a case of State's receivers having to step up and make plays. Can they do that again this year? And is that what they're going to have to do this year? Or can they find some success on the ground? That'll be a big question. This was a good run defense a season ago, a good run defense that faced offenses that play similar styles to what Mississippi State wants to do. But obviously State's bigger, stronger up front. Like, State's offensive line is definitely going to get put to the test here against Arizona State.
Yeah, it's going to be put to the test. And, I also think it goes both ways here. I think that there's going to be a test for the front 7 of Arizona State's defense. I think there's more so the challenge, like you just put it, for the offensive line for State. But again, this is a team that brought back some good talent from making the playoffs last year. Let's be honest. I think Sam Levin and Cam Scatterbo is what got them in the playoffs last year, and what led them to a 10-win season and the success they had winning the Big 12. Which I'm not taking anything away from that. That's amazing. That's great. But I feel like this year, yes, they have Sam Levitt. They don't have the backs like Scatterbo or that standout typical guy that they can lean on for team success. I'm not saying that they don't have the talent. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's not that one standout guy. But they have some dudes that have made some progress over the last few years, brought in some transfers, and overall, they worked really hard this offseason, I'm sure. It's going to be a very interesting game this week, and one guy that stood out to me from this past week for them was Elijah O'Neal on the defensive line. Had a sack and 3 tackles. Dude's big, kind of big, I guess. 6'4", 260, some pretty good size. So, it's guys like that are probably going to be difference makers all year long if they could stay healthy. It's just, it's still too early to tell what you're getting from this Arizona State defense against the offensive line for teams like Mississippi State, I think.
Yeah, look, this is going to be a big test, both sides of the ball for State offensively in this game, just looking back, they had 24 rushing yards a season ago. Now, they lost some of that to sacks, but they could not run the ball in this game. 268 through the air, though, and they were able to find some success throwing the football. That was a little bit of a better game for Blake Shapen once they got settled in. And I thought he was actually in that game. They were able to find some receivers down the field on a few different occasions. You're kind of hoping for some of the same here, but you got to be able to protect them better. And you do have to be able to get to the run game when you need to. That was another thing. You look at this game a season ago is when they had looks to run the football, they were not able to run the football, which was kind of an issue for them, especially early in the season. You had some of those issues in week one. Like State's offensive line, that's kind of the big thing for me going into this game is how big of a step forward can it take from where they were a week ago against Southern Miss where they had some issues. That's really going to ultimately determine a lot of what they're able to do here, whether or not they're going to have much of a chance.